kept going on with it, right? Now, when she ate this fruit off the tree, the serpent was there, and he said he went into her, but it wasn't sexual. He possessed her, and we know it wasn't sexual because in the garden they didn't have digestive system, any of those things yet. Because Adam tells you that when they get out the garden, because they didn't even know how to eat, and actually Satan appeared to Adam and tried to convince him to marry Eve. That's how the marriage of Eve even came up. And Adam was vexed. He was like, bro, I don't know what, I don't think I'm supposed to, I don't know, right? But the moral of this story is that when Adam was in his garden, Eve was in the south side of the border, on the mountain, you had the people that was below the mountain. Now on this mountain was brimstone and fire and stuff like that going up the mountain. And so the ones that below the mountain couldn't come up the mountain. Yeah. And the ones that below the mountain was raw nature. It was nature. It was raw nature. And so what we're talking about is raw chaos. Yeah. And so raw emotion. All these three things to go together. Right? Nature, chaos, emotion. So that's why you are not animals. You're not a dog. Don't act like an animal. And the reason why we're not animals is because we can control sexual urges, sexual tendencies, i.e., the RAPE word, and we control all these things, and we control our diet, we control who, like in the animal kingdom, and I ain't want to mate with you, he just mate with you, right? We control our tendencies to want to kill the other man, to kill the other king, So those things that were below the mountain, then it was this raw, chaotic energy, emotions, lust, fear, panic, i.e. pain. Now, you also had the satyrs out there, the satyrs out there. The ones like fluffy goats with that they're supposed to help man, got man in the forest, and they played up the flute. Right. And they'll have like human bodies or sometimes but they'll have like goat legs. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Now when Cain, I'm sorry y'all, that was loud. But now so when Cain killed Abel, so you had Adam and Eve, right? And you had Cain and Abel. Now, when many don't know that they also had two sisters. Okay. So when Cain killed Abel, oh, actually, let me go back. Let me rewind a little bit. So when Adam was going through, which is Adam and Eve, and Adam was going through all these trials and tribulations. And by the way, God called them angels at this time because he communed with them, and they were perfect because when they did mess up, they had God to correct them. Which walking in, if you mess up if the reason why the Lord could say go off and be perfect, you know why? Do you think you can be perfect?
Close to it.
Right.
Perfect, so, I don't know what it means, but close to it.
Okay, so, but how do you be perfect? Okay.
I wonder.
Yeah. Now let me give you an instance. Now, if you're a father, and you give your child this book of all your laws, right? And and so now when you mess up in school, whatever, let's just say school, and you interrupt the class. Now, this is what I want you to do, and I wrote it down so you know I want you to do. It's just like you write the rules of the house down on it, put it on the refrigerator like mom used to do, right? Yeah. Okay, right? Yeah. So you disobey my mother. The dishes ain't done when she get here, and stuff like that, right? Okay, you got laws now. Now, if you got home late from, basketball training, you got a test and you got to study for a test, something like that, so you can really do dishes, but you've been studying all night, you got a study group, right? And she already told you though, if that happens, you need to let me know, and you need to, as soon as you get here, you need to go ahead and knock them out, or knock them out before you go to school in the morning, right? So now that even though I couldn't do the dishes that night, I knocked them out and let her know, and I knocked them out before I got to school that morning, right? So now you know I couldn't do dishes that night. They disobeyed, right? And so, so in God's word, they deserve death, right? But, so what I did to correct it to get grace, I called her, let her know, and then I did it before I got. So now she's happy. So are you not perfect by what your mom said? If you tell your son, hey, man, you disrupted the class. I need you. When you do that, you need to go apologize to your teacher and apologize to the class in front of the class. And he disrupted the class, right? He got a letter home, but then he tell you, but Dad, I got it from the teacher, and I apologize to the teacher, and I apologize to the class. Did he not walk in perfection? Exactly. That's how you go and walk and be perfect. But in God's world, you got to know the laws. You got to know His laws to even walk in that world. Like it's narrow. It's a narrow path. It's His laws. It's His laws, statutes, commandments, heritage. It's all of those. So if you know that, even when you stumble, if you do the things He said to do when you stumble, like go to Him, you're walking in perfection. That's why He said, go off and be perfect. Even when you stumble, I told you what to do when you stumble. Now you don't do that. Now when you're walking in chaos. All right? Okay. So now let's go back to what Adam was doing. So Adam was perfect in his world. He was going off, and though he kept dying, because it was a new world in him, God was there to guide him and carry him and lift him back up and tell him. Matter of fact, everything that Adam did, where he died at, where he walked at, the Lord said, I'm gonna die right there too. I'm gonna walk right there too. And God said that He sent His Spirit, the Word, to Adam. So the Word is who?
Let me not mess up. Adam.
Yeshua. The Word is Yeshua. The Father is the thought. The Word is the Son. So He sent His Word to Adam. So Jesus was talking to Adam the whole time in the garden. Remember I told you, the Lord is 7 spirits. Right? And so now you understand that Adam was actually talking to God, and he was talking to the Word the whole time. The Word that was protecting him and guiding him and undeading him. Bringing him back to life. Every time he died, and said, I'm going to die in this cave too. They're going, in 3 days I'm going to rise, and don't worry because I'm seeing a flood over there. Don't go too far west because I'm seeing a flood over there. You stay over here for right now. So now the whole point I got into this is to say, when Adam was in the wilderness, right? His newfound place. When he was going to and fro. Now, the only animal that didn't get named by Adam is the serpent. The serpent kept his name since the Leviathan, which is also the serpent. What did the Lord call him? That snaky serpent that slithering when but in the Leviathan, which is the devil, right? And so you can't have a Tiamat without a Leviathan. So now you put Samaria in order. Samaria is here. Adam and Eve is here. And everything below them that's going to eventually mate with each other and create Samaria. Samaria are lesser gods than these guys. That's why Samaria worship gods. Where they get those gods from? The original of the original. You know what I'm saying? So now, when Adam was going through the trials and tribulation, he walked one place because I don't want to say, I don't know what he was, I don't think this is the point. I know there's one part he was vexed at the fact that he was vexed at Eve. Because I think that the devil tricked her. The devil kept coming at him in different ways. He kept coming at him to trick them. So while Adam said, I'm going to go over here and fast, and you go over there and fast, he would come to Eve in the form of an angel and said, the Lord has brought me and told me to tell you to go to Adam so he can get Adam out of his fasting, right? And so Adam had went off to a way to go fast or something like that. He was going away to something, and this is when a spirit of a woman came upon him, but a woman that you could physically touch, have sex with, all that, right? And she was enticing him to have sex and said that the Lord sent me because surely you are tired. In other words, you know, Eve has fulfilled her purpose, that you are tired or whatever, and you should have sex with me, or you should impregnate me and marry me. And this was what we call Lilith. He told her no, and then so she went and turned around and made it with her creator, which was Satan. So now I want to tell you another story. Now another time where Adam was roaming in this area, a family came up to him, and this is when he was enticed to have a family, to marry Eve. Around the time, don't quote me. But anyway, this happened in the book where they came up to him from the water. A whole family rose from the lake. It came up on him because Satan was showing him. He said, "No, I got better things for you to do than to be a carpenter, because God gave them fire, Adam fire and all this stuff like that, right? So to work the field and do it, I got something better for you where I'm going, where I'm at, right? Matter of fact, I got a whole kingdom of things out here, people out here, things of my creations or whatever." So you see the people come out the river, out the lake, and start talking to Adam and Eve. Then they let out these calls, and then next thing you know, all these other creations that look like humans and angels come out, but they're all animals.
Right.
They're all what we were just talking about with chaos. They all raw nature spirits, and all of them forms of animals. Right? You got the this is what we get, what we call the enchanted forest, because you also got the elves, the sprites, and the fairies, and the pixies, and all that. They're more with nature, like the elements of nature, the raw emotions of nature. They were that, right? Lead you, guide you, and deceive you, and trick you, and all these things through nature, gnomes and all that stuff like that, right? Steal stuff, trap you, all these things, right? And all these things are inherently chaos, right? So now you understand a little bit of what the satanic view is about the body parts, and each body part relate to a spirit, and we know about the chakras and all these things, right? All these things relate to emotions, right? Which is, as a chaos, which is why Zeus and some of those gods was having babies out of their necks and stuff like that, because it was out of emotional points. It was out of rage and fear and lust, and it was out of all these things that was going through, right? And so, and also we're talking about now when people get possessed and they hike up the wall like a spider, like a bat, or they act like a dog, and they growl and they hiss, or they crawl like some type of animal, right? Like when you see somebody afflicted, and like people on the street would be shaking and sweating and going to and fro and can't think like a pig, right? Right. So which is why when the demons was in that guy, Jesus put him out the guy into the pigs, drove the pigs off the cliff. Right. So, and then which is why when he called the lady a dog, she really had the spirit of a dog. People say, "Oh well, it's because she was Sumerian," and they, but when you go back to at the beginning when she was that too, right? Because the word was always with the Lord, right? And the word created it all, right? And so when we talking about this, and we know that all the spirits that Satan was using, that was used with the serpent's blood, which is full of wisdom and knowledge, right? And he was able to make apparitions and things in people of clay and all these things like that, and apparitions of the animals. He took 200 animals. They took 200 animals where the bloodline, and he started getting more. They took 200 animals and manipulated them, right? And then they had to mix them later on to make them big enough for the giants that was produced, so they can have food for them. Which we get, then you start getting dinosaurs of intelligence and large dinosaurs, right? But to narrow it back down, to go back to the beginning, all these apparitions. So the people that came out the water, what do you think that was made with?
Water.
Those reptilians, right? People out of the water, those reptilians, right? Then you had Lilith come, and I believe that she was made with dog, right? So then you had all these other things that came out the forest to the sea, but Satan made them all look like humans. And we know this because even they tell them, say, yeah, they just look like that. He told them, he said, they only just look like that to you, but they don't really look like that. So one time he drugged Satan as the serpent, the one who was in the garden, not the one that's in the chaotic waters, the Leviathan. This is another version of him, the one that's in the garden. And he drugged him to Adam, and he looked like an angel. You would think two angels coming through the garden, right? But then he unveiled how he really looked, and then he was hideous. Now you see to Adam and Eve that looked like beautiful humans, right? But it was really animals. Raw, filthy, horny animals, right? And this is, so, okay. So now you know that these apparitions coming to Adam and Eve look like people but are animals. Now you also got, now you go past this, right? You go beyond this, and that's another thing. Another point to add to this. When you get to Revelations, you talk about the beasts of Revelations. I see these, and there's a beast, and there's a beast. These are actual inside beasts. We see them as we're gonna see them as kings, but they're gonna be actual beasts. It's like you got actual reptilians that we see as humans. So, because what would a reptilian of the serpent knowledge be able to do if they're in the same family as a chameleon? Well, if a chameleon could look like a tree and you could walk right past it and not see it, what do you think an actual knowledgeable conscious being can do? Like look like you, you know what I mean, or something like you, right? Cloak devices and all this other stuff, right? Like yeah. And so, with all these different beings, so now you can see I don't know if you heard the mythos of the dog man, and like I know you heard of Bigfoot, right? Counts, all the counts come from Eden. Edom, which is Esau. The first counts, Count Dracula, all that stuff like that. The vampires, right? And so now you ever heard the show Attack on Titan?
Yeah.
Okay. Now one of the girls' name in that show was Petra. Petra is the city of Eden. And then you know it's Eden because they live in the mountains of the rocks, and they built in the rocks. So the tabernacles. So like we see the Washington Monument and all this, the presidents in the stones and stuff like that. That's all Eden. You know that's Eden. You know that's Esau. Okay. We know Eden is because Edom. Keep saying Eden. Edom. We know Edom is. We know what Edom is because Edom became Rome. Esau was born in the same womb as us. Came out red and hairy, ate raw meat, lived in the mountains. Right? And he lived in a place called Edom, and then Edom became Rome. Right? So when they was in Edom back in the day, they made it with the giants. They made it with the bestiality, because what I told you, what would come to them, what apparitions would come to them too, animal apparitions in the wilderness. You know, right? That's why the God needed to lead Moses and all of them through the wilderness, because crazy things come at you through the wilderness. And so they was in the mountains and they was mating with all that stuff, eating red meat with them and everything like that, eating the giants, bestiality. That's where you get Bigfoot from and all those the babies of them, right? And so, and that's later on in the bloodline. But the point here is to show you that Satan appeared to you as many things. He appeared to Adam as many things, many things. He even threw a big comet at him. And guess what God did with the comet? When Adam was asleep, he made it a dome around him, dome of the rock. And there's also another cave where Abel and Cain was born in, which is, I believe, is the cave that they use and call it the Middle East. They call it the cave. I think that's believed this cave where they killed the Lord at. It's in the cave of treasures. I think it's the same cave they killed the Lord at. And that dome of rock where he threw at Adam is right there too. And they worship that because you want to break it down to Sumerian, because Sin is the father of Ishtar, and Sin is the astral belt, the dark matter around Ishtar, around the moon. And they believe that fell to earth. And that dark matter is actually what's in that stone that in Muslims, they walk around this dark matter in their own. And that dark matter is called sin. Another name for sin is Allah. And his daughter is Alat, which is Ishtar. Another name for her is Mary. And who do the Muslims kings say they're married to spiritually? Ishtar, Isis, any Mary, Keter, any of those names, they say they're married to spirit. They might have a wife in the flesh, but they say they're married to spiritually. It will be literally the Catholic queen in many different names. Now you see these two's always been at war and warring and conquering, conquesting from the beginning, along with the Iranians, which right, and you know how Greek mythology go into the Iranians? Because it's called Persia, because Persia is the one who conquered it. That's Greek mythology, right?
Yeah, Persia.
But people think Greek mythology is false, right? Matter of fact, I told you, after the flood, Gilgamesh goes and visits Utnapishtim. And Utnapishtim is Noah. Okay, right? And actually it's so funny because Gilgamesh had a mating, a buddy they put with him called Enkidu, who was half human and he was like a centaur, a mentor, or whatever, a minotaur, right? Later on in, what was it? It wasn't Medes, it was below Cyprus, where they had the Minotaur games down there. They used to feed people to the Minotaur. You know the movie The Labyrinth, or the Maze Runner?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something real, based off real life, when they would sacrifice people to the maze, and the Minotaur was a man with a bull head would run and get them, or whatever. So now I'm giving you the element. You see how you see these animals in people, right? Then you see the walls of Egypt. You see the walls of Egypt. They try to do the same thing there, right? Now you see where it's coming from. Now you see why all the Sumerians and all the beginning worshipings was the worship of animals. The owl, the goat, right? You see, I keep going. The cat, because and you know, Ishtar represented the Sphinx. She represented the cat people. So it's another thing. It's called the Lyrian Orion War, the war between the reptilians and the Lyrian people. And the Lyrian was like ligers and cats, and I think you even had the eagle people in there, like the last movie Transformers. How they brought the eagle transformer and the monkey and everything. Okay, now let's go back. Let's go back. I'm just connecting a few things to go back to how we get the chaotic spirits being animals, and why that's actually very important. We're going to hear that everybody is not humans, right? So just like he was telling Adam, bro, everybody ain't humans. Matter of fact, the first adultery was bestiality. Do not go and mate with those things down there, with them down there. They're not what you think, right? Okay, so now you had someone from after Cain and Abel, Cain go off. Now you got Cain out there in the wilderness too, and he's mating with them too, right? Okay. So now you got actually blood from a form of Antichrist mating with the serpent seed, right? And the apparition that he got out there, all the raw, animal, chaotic, horny spirits, right? This is where you get Homo erectus from, right? And then you have already, remember, Satan already told Adam he got kingdoms of people out there. Right? Okay, things out there that he made, humans and stuff like that, right? So you got all that out there, right? And so now, after Cain and Abel, you get Seth to replace Abel, right? And then the children of Seth, now man, they still are called angels, because God came in with them. Now the children of Seth, they keep going down to look at down the mountain. Now you gotta remember, the children of Seth this is three generations angels. They ain't been through the same thing Adam went through so heavily, where Satan kept coming and killing him and tempting him in all these different forms, as animals, as things in the sky. And so what he was showing us, what they was showing us in that book, though, if they kept that book in, the reason why they had to take it out is because if we kept this book in, we would know all the ways that Satan approaches us, all the ways that he tried to come in the form of light. He tried to come as something in the sky. He tried to come as an animal to harm you. He tried to come. That's why we end up getting even more leverage with the animals, because it's like we already named them. They already supposed to harm us, but we even got more leverage because remember he manipulated animals. So we've got protection over them too. When he started coming to try to harm Adam with those animals. Adam didn't know how to. They know how to eat. They know how to drink. They know what sex was. They know how to do none of that stuff like that. So nobody can say that. Oh, he had sex with Eve. No, he possessed her. When she was eating apple, he was in the food. You know, you eat fruits with parasites in them. Okay, that's it. So now, when she has Cain, that's why she's now going through birth, and that's why she had pain. That's where the pain comes from. Because where did pain come from? You see what I'm saying? It will come from the first pain will come from the serpent, and he showed you many times that basically all the first pains came from the serpent, because he kept showing. God kept coming to say, "Hey, look, you was in the garden once, and I had you clothed. You didn't have to worry about no food. You didn't have to worry about no hunger. You didn't have to worry about no thirst. Though you can eat and drink of the good sweetness that was in it, you didn't have to worry about none of that stuff. And now look, he promised you these things, and look what he do. Every time he leaves you, he leaves you, and he beats you, and deceives you, and he kills you and destroys you. Every single time, it takes away from you. I didn't do none of those things to you." So he kept showing them that, like, you keep going down these paths, and every time you go these paths, he promised you all this glory and all this stuff like that. He leads you astray, and then he leaves you. And now you have nothing, and you're sick, and you're struggling, and you're cold, and you're out in the rain, and you never knew what rain was. Like, you see what I'm saying? You never knew what night was. It was afraid of the darkness. Yeah. Like, you never knew what night, like, right? So he had to walk him through all that. So imagine, like, Adam he was like, bro, I don't want to do no wrong, because he was so close to the garden that he remembered the garden. So he didn't even want to walk right or walk left with sinning. He was like, nah, bro, I can't. I don't even want to do that. He was asking, Lord, do I drink? I don't even want to drink Eve, don't drink that water, bro. Don't drink the water. Nah, I don't drink the water. But he didn't know what dying of thirst is. So he was like, don't drink the water, because I don't want to die. Because, you know what I mean? Like, we don't even like it. So he's dealing with, in this place he's in, he's dealing with all these Satan apparitions coming up in him that can actually touch him, have sex with him, harm him, and everything, right? Mixed with a Saturn, right? Okay, Jenny, that's what his name. And so he kept coming to the edge of the mountain, and he kept playing music, and the children themselves, remember, they ain't been through none of this now. They've been through that, they know it, but they ain't been through what, like, something like them, because they got their fathers over them to tell them what not to do. And the father kept telling them, don't go down there. Even Adam told Cain and Abel, so Seth told his children, don't mate with them, don't go down there. You don't go down there, right? So they kept hearing this music, they kept running to the edge of the mountain, and they kept peeking over the mountain. And the genie, he was like, come down. No. Get from the mountain, come back. Ran back down. He kept hearing the music again, ran back down, look over the mountain. He's like, come down. So we don't know how. So remember I told you earlier, God told Adam to never go to the west. Don't go over there to the west, past the western border. Don't go over there. Something bad gonna happen over there. I'm gonna bring a flood on them later. So, oh, and a note on that. Remember I was telling you that the mountain is north, right? So we looking at when we look at the map, how do we look at it? From the south. We look up, we're looking up, right? But we coming from the mountain, coming down off the mountain, we looking from the mountain south. So our west and east is reverse. Okay. Because from north, if the mountain was right here, and we coming from the mountain, west would be right here, and east would be right here. You see what I'm saying? But when we look at the mountain, we're looking at it from down here, like civilization came from Antarctica. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so this south, this north, this west, and this east. Okay. But we coming from the mountain, which is where we came from, then west and east would be reversed. Okay. South would still be south, but west and east would be reversed. Right? Yeah. Exactly. So when I'm saying west and eastern borders, remember that. So remember that the western border is the border of Libya, the river of Egypt, Libya, right? And that eastern border is the Great Lakes around Detroit. That is the two borders of the garden, right? And then you have true west and true east. Okay, all right. And so now, when the children go down the mountain, when he kept coming back to the mountain. He came back to the mountain one last time, and the children heard the music, and they saw horse races. They saw all kind of fly stuff going on down there. Like, hey, it's time to go party, right? So when they go down there to party, well, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. So he comes back again, and they say, we don't know how to get down there. And he finally say, hey man, you got to come down this west side right here. You got to come down the west side right here. So they go down one by one by one. While you still have Seth on the mountain, you got Noah on the mountain, you got Enoch on the mountain. I don't know. I think Adam has already died. Yeah, Adam has already died. You got one more on the mountain. Is it Methuselah? I mean, there's one more. I think it's Methuselah. One more. You got one more. You got another one on the mountain. One or two more on the mountain. Just a few more on the mountain. Right? I'm talking about as far as like the OGs. Like this is the children of Seth we're talking about. So Seth and a couple of his forefathers were still there on the mountain. So they're going down the mountain, and they, by the time they look up and turn around, the children is going down the mountain one by one, bro. It's such a sad story, bro, because they're going down one by one with a smile on their face. Just they hear the music, they probably smell barbecue, all kind of stuff going on, man. They see horse race, they see all kind of stuff going on, right? They're going down one by one, bro, just with a smile on their face. And they was called angels because God communed with them. And they were still in the holy place. They wasn't in heaven no more. They was still down, but they wasn't where they was going. You see what I'm saying? They're still on the mountain. And they're going down the mountain one by one by one by one. And just imagine, man, you in there working on your stuff, and you look up, and you look out the window, and you just see all your children going down the mountain. But they can't come back up, ever. And they doomed to hell. Like, it's over with. You see what I'm saying? And they going down the mountain with a smile on their face. They don't even know. And then this is where you get the Nephilim. And right? And so then like another generation later, Jared's time, which is Noah's father is after Enoch. When they before Enoch, I think. Anyway, this is the time when the ones who decided to go to mate with them, to have sex with them, to mate with them and take them, was the Gregory, which you'll find in the book of Enoch on the fifth heaven. And Enoch tells you that, which Enoch too was on the mountain, he tells you that this is Gregory, the ones who are punished for the ones who went into man, right? The first ones. And guess how they look? Now to Adam, to the children, remember to Adam, it looked like beautiful. To the children, like people, right? It's just like people. But really how they look was giant, basically apes with human faces, right? Which this one they connect a little bit. Basically giant apes with human faces. They're the first ones who went into man. Then you had all the other ones who mixed with all the other things going to man, right? Okay, after they first ones who did. And they got a special place for them in heaven. In hell. Well, hell. I go back to Enoch. I can't remember. Cause I know they're singing, and all they can do is sing. But he said this is their punishment as well. They're holding up something. But okay. And so now, who would be their mother? Because who's the mother of all these chaotic spirits?
I don't know.
The Leviathan, the devil. This is all the serpent seed. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's all the serpent seeds. All those who was down there trying to lure the kids off the mountain. Okay. And so the one who finally lured the kids off the mountain, like I said, is Jenny, right? And to them he appeared as beautiful, as a angel, right? And he played the flute. Right? Yeah. He played the flute. And sang the dance around and played the flute. And that's how they got down. It was lured down by the Jenny. Played the absolutely. But how he really looked though, like the goat, the one they worship, the man with the horn head, horns, and the goat in the satire. He's a satire. That's where you get the goat from.
Yeah.
That's who led the children off the mountain. That's why rappers perform on the platform, and they looking down, and you raise your hand to them. They're switching the place of the mountain, the plateau that the children was on that they went down. Right? Okay. And so, which is one of the reasons why Drake took in that video when the people turned to dogs. Now it's like, right, and they just say, all your dogs can get buried. Can't you respond it to them? And shit go deeper than what people think it is, right? Like it's a spiritual war here. So now, remember the first three that went into man was the giant apes with human faces, right? Now I told you their mother would be the Leviathan, the mother would be the Leviathan, the serpent, right? Of the waters. Leviathan is the ones that go back to the chaotic waters. These are the children, right? T.B.P became queen of them, which is another form of Leviathan, right? So what I'm trying to say is, so now you see these movies that focuses on Godzilla versus King Kong. Who did King Kong get? Who he's always trying to go and get? What did he want?
From Godzilla?
King Kong. What did he want? Not from Godzilla. What did he want in his movies?
A girl.
The white little girl. Remember I said who they was mating with? The Petra and the city and the children of Edom, Attack on Titans. Yeah. The anime, you ever seen that before?
Yeah.
That was mating with all that shit. So the giants look like what? Big giants with they was like had human faces with all hair. Some of them, right? Then you had some of them that was look like just regular people. That's regular giants. Then you had some of them that was actually all ape, right? Like these were the Grigori. Went to man, right? So now you have, so that represents King Kong. That's why he want the woman. Homeway Reckless, he was wanting to win the woman. Planet of the Apes. What the Planet of the Apes is on the new cover is the little monkey with a white girl. Right? And so now you have the other movie is Godzilla versus King Kong. So we know who the Grigori is. We talk about who these big apes things supposed to be, right? These giant apes supposed to be, right? Now, so who is Godzilla then? From the water. The serpent of the waters. Godzilla is Leviathan. In the Sumerian text, who fought? They many times, even beyond the Sumerian text, they had many wars between his own kingdom. Because remember the Grigori, or those giant monkeys with human faces, they rebelled. You know what I mean? They didn't want to work no more, so-called. That's what they're saying in Samaria. They didn't want to work no more, and they rebelled. Right? Then they had a big war. So that's why you see Godzilla versus King Kong. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Right? And then because her line was more of the reptilian line, and the other line, the so-called, what they called in Sumerian text, was, or both of them together, was more of the animals mixed in with it, and I guess they pay attention to one more than the other, sort of like that. And then they rebel because they didn't want to work no more. Yeah. So that's where you see Godzilla versus King Kong. But then when you see Godzilla and King Kong working together, that's more towards the end times, where the mother and the son, the beast and the false prophet and the actual devil, those would be the elemental, the chaotic animal representations of the family line, right? Then you got the ones we're gonna see with man and the false prophet, which gonna be somebody false preacher or whatever, and the false, then you're gonna come back as the false Lord from the sky. So it's gonna be, the return gonna be in each elemental way coming up, right? And we might even see the Leviathan in a giant monkey. Like we might even see that nowadays. Like the Leviathan and the Grigori might come back. That's why I keep making movies about it. Like I don't doubt it because they keep making movies about it. And then it's hinted at throughout the Bible about Leviathan and those being like days of Noah. We know it's gonna be like days of Noah in the end days, and all these things is happening in the days of Noah. So which is why, like again, so you see these movies, King Kong versus Godzilla, that's Grigori and the Leviathan. You see, and so when you talk about everybody ain't human, no, everybody is not human. at all. Like, you know, like everybody not human at all. Like it's great. And that's why you got some people who eat red meat, raw meat, right? All kind of creepy crawlies, right? The penis of any animal. Like, you already know what we talking about. Whole countries do that, like, right? Snails and all kind of caviar, right? So
That's how I'm stealing food.
so right, like I'm just going around the country with it. But you see the weird things people eat.
Yeah.
That like and I'm just saying it goes to show the animalistic behavior that's there. Then who we know, it's crazy because who we know, y'all, they want to do stereotypes us so much. We get stereotyped without even saying who it is. Who we know that have sex with animals. Then you gotta say the culture. It's only one group of people that, well, I ain't gonna say one group of people, but let's say it ain't black people who be on the news
Right.
for having, nobody dark is on the news for having sex with animals. We don't mess with animals, we don't like, right? We not even, like over here, us, we not even that good. We ain't no hunters and stuff like that. We call people that turn red outside in the sun rednecks. That's what we call them. And if I seen right, I seen that Esau was described as red because they didn't have how you gonna describe when somebody's in the sun, they turn red. Very hairy, lived in the mountains, was a good hunter, and ate raw meat. Yeah, that sounds like a redneck to me. Right? Like if you want to talk about, and then it makes sense because we are the two most modern variations of man. Like because the Ishmaelites, our cousin the Ravens was before Jacob. So we come from Jacob, but Ishmael was born before us. Right, so the Arabs are here for us as far as their identity, who they are, coming from their father. Jacob was after him, so yeah, and then so Esau was born with us. Like I said, Esau became Edom, and Edom became Rome. So we know that, you see what I'm saying, that we know who y'all are, because Rome took all of us, right, and killed the Lord, and killed the saints, and beheaded them and all this stuff like that. And we know that there are 10 toes. They never got conquered. They just came down to 10 toes. They are actually the 10 barbaric tribes. But in history, they turned it around and called us the barbarians. Right? They call us all the barbaric tribes. But yeah, man. So look, Billy, Billy, I forgot his name, bro. I'll never remember his name. He was right on with that one though.
Parents, these people are here. They've always been here. We've never been alone. And the illusion that's painted by Hollywood on TV of these people that are coming and they look like they're monsters and they're going to eat you, that's conditioning. The true reality is they look just like us and we look just like them. People think I'm talking about...
Oh yeah, let me put that in order too, man, because people got to know that Samaria comes after Adam and Eve. Like you don't get a Samaria without the children themselves coming to mate with all of them, and then becoming the Nephilim. Giants are born. So now we know why giants are born, right? Because the monkeys that look like humans to Adam and Eve was giants, right? So then this is why later on in the future they say that we come from what? Monkeys. But why wouldn't they say that? You know what I mean? It makes sense. Because they flip everything. So what they gonna say? They want to say we come from the serpent's line, and the only way they can, as far as they can go and say it, I come from the one that made it with the Nephilim, the one that made it with the ones that. Yeah, that's where y'all come from. Yeah, that's where y'all come from. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Just like, right? Just like Antioch. Just like, right? Just like Antioch. You can't worship God no more. And y'all can live here. Y'all can stay here. Nigars, and y'all can live here. Y'all can stay here. Nigars, 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 Nigars. All right, y'all can be called Nigars. Right, matter of fact, where y'all live at, gonna be called